to First in Line Movie Reviews for Ordinary People. Tonight we went to see First Man. So, what's your opinion on it?
I thought it was really good. I think it talked a lot. I think it showed a lot of maybe what really happened, and that was some of the reviews that I read. Was that a lot of the noises and a lot of the the silence and then the noise and then the rockets and all that stuff. But I was a little I don't know. So backing it up a little bit. It's First Man is the story of Neil Armstrong and the NASA program, the Gemini programs, and the Apollo programs that they went to the moon on. And so it was telling the story of basically Neil Armstrong and how it came up to Apollo 11 and he landed on the moon. So I thought it was an interesting take on it, but I don't know. I need to do some research on how Neil Armstrong really was, because that was a little off-putting.
Yeah, he was. The movie definitely made him seem kind of a quiet, kind of a
very moody.
Yeah, kind of moody.
I mean, he had a lot of it. He had some tragedy in his life. I mean, it told the story of his daughter, and she died at an early age. And so, I mean, I can understand that would do something to somebody, but I don't know if that's how he really acted or not. And so that was interesting to me, because he was the first guy on the moon, but I've never done any character research into him and
who he really was
and how he really acted, because the whole movie, I mean, it was a good movie. It just really portrayed him as being distant and quiet and just very different than you thought he would be.
Yeah, and the dynamic between he and his wife was definitely different. I guess the way most American heroes seem to be portrayed is always these, really outgoing personalities and really interesting. And in all truth, this one showed a dynamic of a family that was trying to make it through some really difficult times, some really stressful times. And maybe that's it. Maybe the way they were was based on that stress of he may live, he may die. Everybody around him was living and dying.
And it could be. I mean, I just want to see what liberties they took in making the movie.
Yeah.
I guess is how I want.
I agree. So one of the things that I really found interesting was the way they filmed it. I don't know if you noticed, but it was almost like in many of the scenes, it was like they had home movie cameras. A lot of shake, a lot of, and even one piece in time, there was the film. If you noticed at the top, it had it looked like a string. You know how like the old movies and stuff used to show, where they had that kind of the
it seemed
grainy
like they filmed it in a grainier format, a Super 8 type of format or something.
Almost that era type filmmaking.
And I think that maybe not having everything in focus and some of that. I mean, they really tried to make it a period piece, I guess. And so it was good, but it was also it was different.
You could definitely tell the CGI period's time when they used versus using real footage.
Yeah.
And I was pretty amazed at that, because I was waiting for a lot more CGI than they put in it.
They used a lot of real footage. It looked like a lot.
Yes, and it wasn't only a few scenes you could tell that they used something.
Right.
But otherwise, it was. And then they showed a lot more of what it felt like to be inside, where I feel like so many movies show what the outside looks like going, but this time
I don't know. I was thinking
pretty fascinating.
Apollo 13 seemed to tell a really good story, and it seemed to be very, very much of what it was like inside. They didn't land, of course, because of the accident, but it was different. I mean, being in the lunar lander and all of that, I didn't realize they stood up the whole time.
I didn't either. Of course, you never really see the landing of what happened between separation and the landing. All you ever see is them on the ground, him taking his first steps. That's what we've always seen. But I had no clue those pieces.
I'm going to have to do a little bit more research.
I agree.
Just to see.
I agree. To me, they made Buzz Aldrin he was kind of rude. I mean, he had a real...
He was just very blunt.
Blunt, on everything. And maybe that was his character. I'm curious to see that as well.
Yeah, that was it. Like I said, it's almost like it's the underbelly of NASA, or what they don't talk about, or this is how it really happened, and nobody wants to remember these things. They want to remember, hey, they were successful. Hey, all of this good stuff happened. Not all of these people died. And, this guy was a jerk and this guy had a bad home life and those kinds of things. And so, but it's good to know what really happened and because life is messy. So
I agree. So for me, thumbs up.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. It was, I
would pay.
I like history.
I would pay IMAX once. I don't know if I was to see it again, I wouldn't pay the full price again. It was good. It was just different than what I expected.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, thanks, guys. Hope you guys have a great day. Be sure to like or comment in the bottom. Otherwise, see you next time.